Hello, and welcome. It's July 8th. It's it's warm outside again, and I'm here with you. Thanks for joining the show, the podcast. If you are, I see there's a couple of watchers right now. Um, yeah, got a few things to talk about this week. As always, I always make sure I have a few things to talk about. It's kind of the way the whole podcast thing goes, or else I just sit here like this. And that wouldn't do very well for views. Yeah, actually, it might do the same. Straight up, might do the same. I don't know. I should try that one time just to see what happens. But so this week we're going to talk about Biden potentially being replaced. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but there's a lot of talk about it. I tend to think yes. I've been thinking yes for a while. But we'll see. He says he's not going to do it though. He says he's not. He's staying the course. So I don't know. But does he know what he's saying half the time? Not sure. We'll talk about that. Also, we're going to talk about a very sad thing. A children's hospital in Kiev was bombed. Some implications there that it was Russian missiles, but Russia's pointing the finger at some anti-aircraft missiles from Ukraine. So I don't know. The timing's always bizarre. Either way, a children's hospital being hit is pretty bad. Hey, Joe, what's up, buddy? 90 degrees outside, and it's like 32 in Canadian degrees. That's funny. Listen, if you don't know the conversion, that's on you. Yeah, I think it's about 30 degrees outside. It's always nice on Mondays. Just to torment me being inside here doing a podcast with, right now, 3 viewers. You, me, 2 others. But thanks for joining anyway, Joe. You're always here. It's good to see you. Yeah. That's funny, actually. So American temps are worth more than Canadian temperatures. So, yeah, that's pretty true. So we'll talk about the Kiev bombing. Also, we'll talk about Hurricane Beryl barreling down on the U.S. and Canada. We're going to see some rain because of it up in the Great White North up here. Otherwise, yeah, it's been wreaking a little bit of havoc on Texas right now. We'll talk about that. Also, we'll talk about NATO being upset with Canada. I find this funny. What's up, Gizzo? I don't know how Canada gets itself in trouble with NATO, but I guess we're not spending enough money. That's apparently what it is. So NATO's a joke at this point. But we'll talk about that. Also, we're going to talk about robotic warehouses. It's a thing now, and they're spreading. So who knows? Maybe in the next couple of years, we'll have all warehouses will be robotic. A lot of jobs gone. I don't know. I never worry about jobs going away because I think other jobs will be created. But yeah, we'll talk about the robotic warehouses and the doomsday of mankind that'll ensue because of it. Also, or lastly, we'll talk about Sam Cotton. If you don't know who Sam Cotton is, you should go check him out on Instagram. He's probably on YouTube. I don't know, but I always get him on Instagram. He's got these hilarious videos. He does these little animated videos. Very funny. I'm going to play a couple and, review it and, give him a little bit of exposure on my very small channel here. And because I like to expose things that I like. That sounded funny. So if you haven't already and you are watching the podcast and you like the podcast, hit that subscribe button. We're, I don't know, we're at like 319, I think, something like that now as of today. 319 subs. That's, it's not nothing, but it's kind of nothing. So, if we get more subs, that'd be good. Also, if you do like the content, hit that little like button, all that. All the engagement helps the channel, share, all that kind of stuff. Helps a small channel like this grow. Also, if you miss any part of the podcast and you don't want to watch the whole thing, you can check out little bite-sized bits all week long between Tuesday and Sunday, depending on which ones I want to post. Now, I don't post all 6 anymore, but sometimes we'll see. But you can catch them at 5 o'clock any day between Tuesday and Sunday. So obviously share, like, that kind of stuff. Now that I got through all that shit, it's time to get to it, Let's get on to the first thing here now. Oh, let me plop this up. Okay, whoop. Here we go. Okay, so there's talk of Biden being replaced. Do you think it's going to happen? I don't know. I'm not convinced, but I thought so for a long time. But now he's saying he's not going anywhere. So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? There's a lot of shit being thrown at the wall, we'll say. This article here is by The Hill. I'm going to read a little bit of it, and then we're going to talk about a proposed. I'm going to switch off to a Clown News Network article that talks about a pairing that I would never have thought about, but they're saying that this pairing could beat Trump. Anyways, I digress. Let me read a bit of this article here. So here's how the process to replace Biden would work if he withdraws. Amid rising pressure on President Biden to withdraw from the race, questions are looming over the mechanics of getting another Democrat on the ballot ahead of November. Democrats do have a path forward. The filing deadline for the party to get their presidential candidate on the ballot in most states hasn't been met yet, and there are avenues within the party over how to choose a new candidate if need be. Much of the chatter over Biden's fate for now is speculation, as the president and his campaign maintain he's committed to running for another term. Still, some Democrats have expressed uncertainty over his electoral chances against Trump in November. Come on, he has no chance against Trump in November, so they're expressing their uncertainty. No, it's pretty certain he's not going to beat Trump. While others have called for him to drop out immediately, injecting uncertainty into an already chaotic election cycle. Here's what to know about the rules governing a new Democratic presidential pick. So typically the Democratic presidential candidate is officially selected at the Democratic National Convention, but this year's presidential nominating process is set to look a little different. Democrats are holding a virtual roll call in response to earlier concerns that the president wouldn't be able to get his name on the November ballot in Ohio ahead of the state's filing deadline. In Ohio, Democrats initially needed to submit the name of their candidate to the state 90 days before the election, which is August 7th this year. So this was a big problem that they ran into earlier. They were talking about that they weren't going to be able to get him on the on the ballot in Ohio, which, well, if you know anything about, well, you should be if you're watching this, if you know anything about the electorates in the states, Ohio is a pretty big swing state. So if you can't get Ohio, it's like, that would be pretty bad for the Democrats. So, but this all kind of looks like they've set it up this way so they have an out, but I don't know. These are kind of like, these are weird mistakes to make, put it that way. It wasn't the first time this year that Democrats have run into a filing deadline problem. In Alabama, the issue was settled quickly after the state agreed to change its filing deadline, while Washington State accepted provisional certification. So they're making little changes for Biden to make sure he gets in there. And I don't know. I think they were just kind of, this is what I feel anyway. I feel like they were kind of seeing how it would go, see how the polls would show, and then they would leave themselves some outs to be able to replace him. There's a number of ways they can do it. It's been speculated. Tim Pool speculates all the time on, that they'll have Gavin Newsom run up on stage and save him from a cardiac arrest or something like that. I don't think it's going to be that, grandiose, but I think that maybe they just convince Biden to step down and someone steps in for him. That's just, I've been dropping the name of Michelle Obama for a while, but it's kind of getting late in the game. So if she's going to get in there, you'd think you'd hear about it by now, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. But I still think Obama's a runner in there. But here's what the opinion from CNN is saying. Gretchen Whitmer. Ugh. If you don't know who she is, she's that train wreck from Michigan. Just awful. During COVID, she was a complete piece of shit. They're talking about Kamala Harris and Gretchen Whitmer. I got to read a little bit of this because it's hilarious. It's an opinion. Kamala Harris and Gretchen Whitmer could make a winning ticket for Democrats. If President Joe Biden decides to withdraw from the election, Democrats need not fear. They have a ticket in front of them that can still defeat presumptive Republican nominee Donald Trump. It's laughable. Who wrote this? This is Julian Zelitzer. Yeah, you're good, bud. Yeah, you're a bit retarded, but okay. Not only would a ticket with Kamala Harris as president and Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer as her running mate have the best odds of getting the party through this moment of crisis, but also the potential to excite voters and produce a historic outcome. To be sure, there are serious risks at the same time. This could present an exciting opportunity for Democrats. Oh my God. Who would think these two dumpster fires would have a chance? At this point, it'd have to be someone like Michelle Obama. Even Gavin Newsom, I don't think has a chance to beat Trump. You got to get someone like Obama in there where the name and popularity would have a chance. But at this point now, Trump has so much momentum behind him. I don't know. It's gonna be tough. What are you guys saying here? It has to be Team Obama. No one else has that much juice. I agree. Exactly. I would think so. I think it gets to a point where they wait sort of till late in the game, and then they go, you know what, get Obama in there, because she doesn't need to do a lot of campaigning in any way. People know who she is, so she just gets in there and says, I'm gonna run for the Democratic Party to save the U.S. from Trump, and she'll get a ton of votes. She'll get all the moderates that are going to vote Trump because they don't want to see a dead guy as president again, right? So, you think it's going to be Gretchen? I don't think so. Gretchen Whitmer, like, she's not even, is she popular? I don't understand. She was a piece of shit during COVID. So, and Kamala is just a nightmare. I don't think has there been a more unpopular vice president? So I can't see Kamala, but I mean, she does check some DEI boxes. Kamala and Michelle have always been close, so it makes sense. Yeah. Gretchen just bowed out, apparently. Yeah, I read that where she said she wasn't going to do it, but man, they always say stuff like that, right? Yeah, and it's your governor. Did you like her as governor, or do you like her as governor? My buddy lives in Michigan, so he in Rochester Hills, and he hated her. So, but she had just awful restrictions during COVID. So, I think what's this? Supposedly what? You like her? Oh, it's your governor, supposedly. Yeah, I don't know. It's getting so late in the game. Like we're almost mid-July now at this point. If they're gonna do something, you think they'd do something soon, but they have no shot of winning with Biden. So I can't see them riding that out. I just see Biden. Whether he wants to bow out or not, I think he's gonna be forced to bow out somehow. So, but I guess time will tell. It's funny. I was that's funny. I shouldn't answer this. I'm gonna get in trouble for this if the girlfriend's watching. But I was looking at her going, like, some pictures she looks all right. Most pictures she looks like a witch. So I'm gonna say pass. Yeah, I would have to pass anyway because don't kill me, Chris. But yeah. How about what's her face? Noam, Kristi Noam from North Dakota, is it? Yeah, North Dakota. Smash or pass? I'm gonna say pass. It's always pass for me. Pass. No, she's not watching. She's not gonna watch this. She better not be watching. I'm in trouble. Yeah. Easy smash. There, yeah. There you go. She looks like she's had a lot of work done though. So I don't know. I'd like to see her somehow get into the race. Trump should have taken her as VP. I guess he still can. I don't know who his choice might. Double smash, eh? There you go. All right, let's get on to the next thing. Pull this up. I don't want to spend much time on this because it's depressing and it's got a lot of bullshit political implications behind it too, timing and all that shit. So sad news. It looks like a hospital was hit by a bomb in Kiev. Of course, Ukraine is blaming Russia. I'm not saying it wasn't Russia, but it's the natural. It's this, right? It's pointing fingers the opposite way, and Russia's saying it was a Ukrainian anti-aircraft missile or something like that. Let me read this article here. This is the BBC. So of course, BBC's they're kind of bad. So let's see what they have to say. A children's hospital in Kiev has been hit after Russia launched a wave of missile strikes against cities across Ukraine. 2 people died when the children's hospital, Omatdik, I don't know how to pronounce that, Ukraine's biggest pediatrics facility sustained major damage during the blast. 36 people were killed and 140 people were injured in the strikes. President Zelensky's chief of staff, Yermak, said on Monday. Lesia Lisicia, a doctor at the hospital, told the BBC the moment the missile struck was like in a film, with a big light and then an awful sound. One part of the hospital was destroyed and there was a fire in another. It's really very damaged, maybe 60 to 70% of the hospital, she said. Pictures from the scene showed young children, some with IV drips, sitting outside the hospital as it was evacuated. Vitaly Klitschko. This is funny. I had no idea he was former boxer. Vitaly Klitschko is Kiev's mayor. I had no idea. Said the two who died in the hospital were adults, one of whom was a doctor. He added that rescuers feared more people were trapped under the rubble. Russia has denied targeting the hospital, saying it was hit by fragments of a Ukrainian air defense missile. But Ukraine says it's found remnants of a Russian cruise missile. Okay, so of course they're going to point fingers at each other. It's the fog of war. You don't know. It's okay. Let's, and who do you trust? They're gonna uncover a bunch of stuff. I'm not saying it wasn't Russia. So I'm just playing the devil's advocate here. It's the timing, of course. This starts to heat up, and you're going to get people behind this, and we got a U.S. election coming up, so this kind of stuff is always good for for the incumbent. So I don't know. Could be, could not be. I don't know. I mean, the hospital was clearly hit, but who did what? I don't know. Now we're in the process of evacuating patients to the nearest hospital, but many patients are intubated and on ventilators and cannot have contact with other patients or go outside. Hospital officials told Ukrainian TV that about 20 children were being treated in the ward which was hit. I don't want to read it anymore. This is disgusting. Obviously, it's not good when you see a hospital getting hit. It seems the same shit's happening over in, in the Gaza Strip and shit. I don't know. Like, are they aiming at hospitals? I thought we had smart missiles. I thought we weren't doing this kind of shit. That's what makes me think that, it seems a little odd. I don't know if Russia's targeting hospitals. If they paint that as the narrative, it sounds great. I mean, it makes them really seem evil and gets everybody behind continuing the fight. But I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. No one is like Michael Vick with no running game. Yeah. Listen, she's from North Dakota. They do things a bit different over there, bud. I've been there, actually. I've been to Minot, North Dakota. Or no, she's not North Dakota. South Dakota, I think. She's South Dakota. I'm mistaken. But I've been to North Dakota. I haven't been to South Dakota. They do some weird shit over there, right? So maybe she's killing dogs. I don't know. Listen, I don't want to put that evil on her if she's not doing it, but I feel like if anybody's killing dogs, they're doing it in South Dakota. It's probably true. Maybe not. All right, let's get on the next thing here. I'm not going to talk much about this either. I don't really care that much, other than the rain that's coming my way. So Hurricane Beryl made landfall in Texas and knocked out a bunch of power. Another problem, hurricane. Looks like it's going to hammer up through the States and into Canada and drop a ton of rain. So, that's problems. I'm going to read this article here. This is CTV News. This is our Canadian news up here. So it's our dumpster fire, our northern dumpster fire. It's all part of the same shithole. So they'll they have a spin on shit their own way. So let's see what they have to say here. So Tropical Storm Beryl unleashed heavy rains and powerful winds across the state of Texas on Monday, knocking out power to more than 2 million homes and businesses and flooding streets with fast rising waters as first responders raced to rescue stranded residents. Beryl had already cut a deadly path through parts of Mexico and the Caribbean before making a turn and later sweeping ashore as a Category 1 hurricane in Texas early Monday. At least 2 people were killed. The U.S. National Hurricane Center said damaging winds and flash flooding will continue as Beryl continues pushing inland. More than 2 million homes and businesses in the Houston area were without power, Central Point energy officials said. Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, who is acting governor while Texas Governor Greg Abbott is out of the country, said crews cannot get out to fix power lines until the wind dies down. We haven't really slept, said Rosenberg resident Eva Constancio, as she gazed at a large tree that had fallen across power lines in her neighborhood. Go out there and pick up the tree. What the hell? She said she had been without electricity for about 4 hours and worried her food in her refrigerator would be spoiled. We are struggling to have food, and losing that food would be difficult, she said. Okay, so rising waters, all that shit, obviously. Yeah. This is heading up our way. So let me see here. Meteorologists in Louisiana are watching for lingering rain bands, which could drop copious amounts of rain whenever they materialize or wherever they materialize, as well as quick spin-up tornadoes, said Donald Jones, a National Weather Service meteorologist in Lake Charles, Louisiana. It's just a matter of exactly where it's going to be. Jones said that's very difficult to predict more than maybe an hour or so in advance. You guys can't predict shit. Meteorologists are dumpsters. They just can't predict anything. They're garbage. They're just awful. Can't even predict rain. How are you going to predict where a tornado is going to land? This is coming up north, and this is going to hit everything from all the way up the straightway. Michigan, sorry, Joe, you're going to get hammered. Up here in Canada, we're going to get hammered. So look for rain for the next few days, thanks to this sucker. Oh, there you go. Howdy from Swakopmund. The fuck is Swakopmund? Thanks for joining us. It's late for you, so every time you come on, it's nice to see you. I appreciate it. HAARP again. Yeah. So I have nothing to say about that. All right, let me get on the next thing here. This one I thought was funny. This is a funny story because this hits home for Canadians here. All right. Okay, so NATO is pissed off at Canada. You don't hear that very often. Nobody gets pissed off at Canada. We're way too polite up here. But I guess we're not getting off our wallets, and they don't like that. And it's an article from Politico. Politico is garbage, as most of these online publications and outlets are. So, but I'll read it anyway. So NATO is losing patience with one of its own members, and it's not who you think. It's Canada. Canada has been dodging its commitment to NATO for a decade. It may not be able to hold on out for much longer. Over the past several years, Ottawa has become an outlier among the 32-member alliance. It has failed to hit domestic military spending goals, has fallen short on benchmarks to fund new equipment, and has no plans to get there. Trudeau's not doing a very good job of spending all the money over there. It's a stance that has frustrated allies far and wide, from the White House to the halls of Congress to capitals all over Europe. And it'll be on members' minds when they gather this week in Washington for the NATO summit, where they're expected to press Ottawa to come up with the cash while warning that things could get much worse if Donald Trump returns to the White House. It's funny how they got to put that in there, right? Got to talk about Trump. It has nothing to do with Trump right now. What are you talking about? How do you know it's going to get much worse? What's happening now that everyone is spending more, the fact that the Canadians aren't even trying has become obvious, said Max Bergman, a former State Department arms control official. It's perhaps surprising that Canada is a laggard on spending, even though it's proven to be a strong ally in other arenas, from its purchase of U.S. weapons to its close coordination with the U.S. in defending North America to its deployment of troops to Iraq and Afghanistan. Yeah, we're always in the middle of everything, so what are you talking about? They just don't like that we're not spending all our money now. Let me kick on down here. Let me see here. It says, so 2 of the holdouts are Canada and Belgium. Good company. Both of which are not only failing to meet the 2% goal, but also the requirement to spend 20% of that on new equipment. Unlike Canada, however, Belgium says it'll be there by 2035. When will Canada? They won't say. Nah, we're being dodgy. Good. Canada's stance prompted a bipartisan group of 23 U.S. senators to take the exceedingly rare step of sending a letter to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Ooh, they sent a strongly worded letter. Saying they were concerned and profoundly disappointed that Canada's most recent projection indicated that it will not reach its 2% commitment this decade. Oh my God. You idiots. They sent a letter. Yeah. That'll get you somewhere. And the situation could get much worse if Trump is elected. Just look at a picture of Trump. Everything's got a tie to this guy. While Trump targets Germany and France, have pledged billions more in weapons buys and are upgrading their armed forces, years of underinvestment have left Canada's military under-equipped and unready. And if the former president comes back to the White House, he'll notice. Yeah, he'll notice because you're a bunch of D-bags, and he'll tell you to get off your ass and start doing something. Let me see here. So I'm going to skip down here. It says what we're supposed to spend here. It's like 1.7% of our GDP or something like that. Okay, so from 2016 to 2017, Ottawa's defense budget more than doubled from U.S. $13.5 billion to U.S. $29 billion, led by purchases of 88 U.S.-made F-35 fighter jets, 16 Poseidon P-8A surveillance aircraft, and the early work on a huge project to build 15 frigates for the Navy that will be built in Canada. Canada is committed to reaching the NATO target of spending 2% of GDP on defense. Daniel Minden, spokesperson for Blair, said in a statement when asked for comment. A new defense policy document outlines additional investments to get Canada to 1.7% of GDP by 2030, meaning that we will have nearly tripled Canada's defense spending since 2014. In fact, we will be increasing defense spending by 27% over the course of the next year alone. Okay, so we're spending some money, just not fast enough or in the way they want us to, I guess. So, whatever. Screw you, NATO. Who cares? NATO's kind of an antiquated group anyway. Don't think it's much needed, but whatever. So, listen, on behalf of Canada, I apologize to NATO for not doing what you wanted us to do. And go fuck yourself. What do you got to say there? Looking at heart. Yeah, I've either talked about that before or it's some kind of like weapon or something like that. I think I've talked about it on the podcast or something before a long time ago. Been in the field. It's a small town on the Atlantic coast. Oh, Swakopmund. Swakopmund. It's a small town on the Atlantic coast. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, you got to come back to Canada. We need you back over here. Swakopmund has enough problems of their own. All right, let's see what do we got next. Just blasting through this actually a little quicker than I expected. Right, only at 28 minutes. I'm on number 5. All right. So robotic warehouses. Ooh, that sounds futuristic. Looks like we're getting another one. I'm going to read this article here. This is Reuters. It talks about an Aon partnership to build another robotic warehouse. So British online supermarket and technology group Ocado said on Monday it boosted its partnership with Japan's Aon with plans to build a third robotic warehouse. The third customer fulfillment center, CFC as Ocado calls them, will be in Kuki Miyashiro, the Saitama prefecture of Japan, and will go live in 2027. The expansion of the partnership is a boost for Ocado after it said last month that its Canadian supermarket partner Sobeys had paused the opening of a fourth robotic warehouse, prompting a slump in Ocado shares. Kind of crazy that these are popping up. These are quick too. They're not, they're coming up kind of fast. Before you know it, we'll have dozens of these things. I think Amazon already kind of uses this. Ocado entered an exclusive partnership with Aon in 2019. A first CFC in Chiba City opened last year, serving customers in the Kanto region. What's with all these words I have a hard time reading? A second based in Hachioji is due to go live in 2026. I apologize for any Japanese viewers who are see me dying on these words. In addition to the network expansion, the partnership will also see Aon upgrade its live operations with the last Ocado technologies, including what it calls on-grid robotic pick. Ocado said this will bring increasing levels of labor productivity to Aon's operations. The Technology Roundup newsletter brings the latest news. Oh, sorry. I'm reading the wrong thing. That's it. That was a pretty short uh, Reuters article here. Yeah. So robotic warehouses. I mean, we knew they were coming. We knew they were kind of here in a way. Like Amazon's been kind of using, using them sort of. I mean, they have humans in those warehouses too, but I can see them going full robotic. But I don't know what this does for our economies if this picks up too quick. They're talking about third, fourth. How many new warehouses these robotic warehouses are gonna just pop up? And like I said, if they pop up too fast, or are they displacing a lot of workers? I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Kanto is from Pokemon? I don't know anything about Pokemon. Can't say. I never got into it. I remember I was irritated. I was running operations for a large construction supply outlet, and a bunch of my employees were doing that Pokemon Go, and I found it so irritating. But I couldn't. There was nothing I could really do about it. I was trying to put a stop to it, but I don't know. Anyways, yeah, I never really got into that. Yeah, UBI. Yeah, I'm not totally against UBI to some degree. As long as it's kind of like welfare in a way, but it's giving our money back to us. So a little bit of a UBI, but I don't know. I'm a capitalist by nature, so if UBI affects my ability to get rich, well, that's a problem. But otherwise, yeah, whatever. And especially if UBI is tied to, for example, these robotic warehouses. I've talked about this before on the podcast. If we had sort of AI robots that were doing the work of humans, and then they were producing a certain amount of, revenue towards the economy, and that revenue was given back to people in a UBI, I'm perfectly fine with that. I think that's fantastic. Then we could do a ton of other things that, maybe we want to do instead. We could actually, push forth, some pretty cool, what's the word I'm looking for? Advancements in society, right? Freeing us of the burden of having to work jobs that we don't really want or don't, have no desire to work. I think UBI could be a good thing, but again, like I said, as long as it's tied to something, it can't just be, money doesn't grow on fucking trees. You can't just be like, oh, the government just print a bunch of money and just give me some money. It has to be tied to something. That's the problem with all money right now. It's not tied to anything. There's no gold standard. There's no anything. It's just money is just printed, and we assign a value to it. And anybody could just fuck with that at any point and say, well, money's not really worth anything anymore. This dollar isn't worth anything anymore, and you've got a ton of it. Well, fuck you. Sorry, but your luck, buddy. All the money you have is gone. Money printer, go burr. Yeah, well, people do have money printers. A little harder to do now with the plastic money that we have, but all right. Let's get on to the last thing here. Oop. All right. Oops. I'm screwing with myself here. Okay, so if you haven't heard of Sam Cotton, I'm going to do you a favor right now and tell you about this guy. He's a funny little animator. I guess he's an actor. I didn't know that about him, but he's an actor, but he's from Australia or whatever. And he does a bunch of animations, like little animations on Instagram, probably TikTok and all that shit. But I only ever catch him on Instagram, so that's all I know of him for sure. But funny shit. I'm actually going to play two of his videos, two of my favorite ones, and I'll just share the wealth on this guy. Let me see. Hopefully you can hear this without any problem. I can't expand this video because it's Instagram and it doesn't let you do that on a laptop. So sorry about your luck.
What's this? Is this like moss or something? Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. That's all right. All the best.
That's it for that one. I love it. That's all right. Sorry with the laugh, but oh my god, that video gets me every time. I've shared that thing. I probably shared that thing 100 times. That video is hilarious. Listen, laptops are the best, Joe. Come on. Yeah. Here's the other one. This next one. This is actually the first one I ever saw from him.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me, Sam. No worries, mate. Thank you. Yeah, and another one. Here you go. I'm wonderful, thanks. That's good. Check you in. And one more. Oh, easy. I actually reckon two's enough. Now that I think about it. Probably. Did I say that? Definitely not. I would never. Don't worry, mate. I'll get it. I'm gross. Oh, just chuck me in the bin. Not gross. Great to have you. Oh, you're joking. Oh, thanks so much, mate. No worries. Don't fart in it.
Don't fart in it. If you couldn't hear it, I don't know if we couldn't really see it that well, and we might not be able, especially if you're watching on a phone or something. It'd be a little tough to see that. Go check them out. Go check out the one with the marshmallow. You'll see if there's a marshmallow to start. It's hilarious. So the synopsis of that is he's putting 3 marshmallows in his hot chocolate, and the third marshmallow is gross. And he's like, oh, I don't want to put that one in there. And then so he puts them in, and the marshmallow farts. Anyways, funny shit. All his videos are pretty funny. He does a lot of stuff with like birds and that. And you can see that he puts the faces on stuff. There's one about a shower wee, which is funny. Go check him out. His name's Sam Cotton. He's got about 1 million subs now on Instagram. So I don't know what he was when I first started. He's been growing, though. Growing pretty good. So, yeah, check him out. Let me know what you think in the comments. Good, Joe. That hurt yours? That's good. What, my laugh? Was it my laugh that got you? Yeah, I couldn't. There's nothing I do. With Instagram, you can't do anything with the videos. You can't expand them. You can't, whatever. That's as much as you can do. It just locks, it freezes you up on the screen. You can't do a full screen or anything like that. I was going to look for it on YouTube, but it was kind of like a quick last minute addition to the potty. So, but yeah, anyways. All right. Did we lose everybody else? Where's Gizzo? He's just quiet. Yeah. Anyways, all right. Well, that's all I got. That's all I got this week. That's all I'm talking about this week. We're at 38 minutes. We're getting kind of close anyway. Yeah. So if you watch, I can see there's a few viewers, but nobody's talking right now other than you, Joe. It's always you and me, Joe. If you are watching the podcast and you're not a subscriber yet, do hit the subscribe. It doesn't cost you any money, and I'd appreciate it. Helps the channel. You've been doing this long enough, I'm sure. Engagement on the channel, that helps the small channels. Liking, posts, sharing, all that kind of stuff. Watching the videos to the end, that a lot of people don't realize that. They think it's like, I'm not sure if it's TikTok or whatever. There's some of them where if you watch it for like a very short period of time, it counts as a view. Whereas YouTube doesn't really count as a view. I think it's under 30 seconds doesn't count as a view. And it also hurts. It also hurts the algorithm. If you watch a video for like 20 seconds and you turn it off, it assumes you didn't like the video, which is probably happening a lot with my videos. But if you do like the if you do like the video, make sure you actually watch it. help a brother out. No, I'm not actually going to go for a swim right now. I got too much shit to do. I've been putting off a few things. So I got a few things I got to do, some invoicing and things like that. So I'm going to get them done. And I got some dishes to do and shit like that. I got some domestic stuff to do. So I'm going to do all that kind of stuff. My pool is calling me, though. My hot tub is actually calling me. It's at like 103 degrees. So I'm kind of thinking about getting in that, too. Oh, there you are, buddy. So you were high playing on this new Steam Deck. You're always high, Gizzo. That's the only time you join me, when you're high. That's awesome. Monster Hunter, what is that? I wonder if my buddy knows it. I don't really play a lot of video games lately. I just don't have the time. The last one that I played kind of religiously was Baldur's Gate, and I got stuck on that for a few months. Problem is when I get into a game, I fixate, right? So I have to avoid them. It's like crack to me. So if this one's good, I'd probably have a problem. My buddy's trying to get me to play this one that looks pretty good too. Yeah, yeah. Well, listen, hot tub's actually it's kind of cool though. When you get in the hot tub, you're hot, and then you can jump out and jump in the pool. So, don't make fun of me, Joe. Listen, you just want to have a hot tub. I got one of those inflatable ones. That's what it was. The problem with the inflatable ones, they don't have all the seats, so you're kind of just sitting on the ground. Like it's cushioned, but a bit of a pain in the ass. So I've been looking into getting some seats for it too. Oh, well, that sounds pretty good. Dark Souls with dinosaurs. Yeah, I forget this game I played a while back with dinosaurs. I can't remember what it was, but you'd breed them and stuff, and it was kind of cool. But yeah. Anyways, all right. Well, hey, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for joining in the convo or in the chat. If you did, obviously you Gizzo and you Joe, thanks for being with me. For everybody else, thanks for watching. You can check me out. I'll be around next week, Monday, 7:00, like always, Eastern Standard Time. Look for me, unless I put out a quick little short saying I'm not, because I've decided to go out and enjoy the nice weather. Listen, get more people in the chats, and then I'll feel more obligated to forego the nice weather and do the podcast. Ark Survival, that's the one. Yeah, I was stuck on that for a little while. That was a really good game. Yeah, it's all right. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you guys next week. At least you, Joe, I'm sure. Gizzo, always a pleasure. If I see you next week, cool. If not, well, that's cool too. All right. We'll see you next week.